Hello, my name is Jon Witt, and this is a mobilization for just shoulder care. So whether you have shoulder pain or not, this is just a good basic thing to use throughout the week, no matter what type of activities you like. So you need a TheraBand. If you have something like this, great. If you don't, if you have like a long band like what you get in a PT office, you could use that as well. Something light, I think, is better than a heavier band. A heavy band, if it was really a big, thick band, you could use it just for static holds, but I wouldn't use it for increased range of motion because you could hurt your shoulder. It's like I wouldn't use a broomstick for this stuff. So I'll just show you the routine that basic stuff that I do every day. So if I can, I'm just gonna fold the band in half. So if you had a thicker band, you don't have to do this, but I'm just gonna pull it in opposition. And then as I'm pulling it in opposition, I'm gonna move it into my chest like a push-up, but just straight forward, and then pulling it back. I'm gonna keep the elbows into the body. So just back and in. It could be just statically in or statically out. You don't have to move. But if you like the motion, just adds a little bit more complexity to the motion of taking the arms out. So say you're getting tired, right? You could continue on, or you could also just stop, right? It's something that you could certainly do more of. But just to keep it more on the basic level, I did that maybe 5 times, right? You could do it 10 times. I'm going to open the band up, and now I'm just going to take it into wide position, but into an overhead. So those of you that can't take the band overhead, right, you could work on getting it to this level and then back down, right? Because some people might have that limitation in their shoulders. But if I can, I'm going to take it up overhead, and it could just be static here. So if you don't have a lot of strength, it could be just a static hold of a Y. But if you can to increase the strength in the shoulders, I'm taking it out just to the height of my shoulders. I'm not bringing it back behind me, so I'm just bringing it down. There's different ways of doing this, but just taking it out to the sides. I'm going to elevate it up, and then I'm going to move it out to the side. So I'm moving kind of slow, right, as an introduction. But once you get the hang of it, it could be, not that it's faster, but it could be more repetitive, right? So I'm just moving it out, holding it statically. Then I'm going to take it straight back up, and then I'm going to bring it forward and down. So that's actually helping the external rotation of the shoulders, and this is going to help with abduction, just bringing the shoulder in, but it'll also help the shoulder. So I'm just going to show what it actually does. So the band's going to actually pull the shoulder forward, like you're going to pull it in, but it's going to help move the shoulders back in space. So just to do this, you're going to take the band back up over your head, but it's going to be back behind you. And then what you're doing is you're squeezing the band towards one another, and then you're going to open it up to the sides. So it's kind of coming in, just slight rounding of the upper back, squeezing it in, and then I'm taking it out, and you have to be careful with how much range you can produce, but the band can move back in space. You got to be careful with the elbows as well. But then I'm moving it in, then I'm taking it back in space. Right, just to open the chest, the shoulders, moving it in, and then I want to keep the tension in whether I'm moving it out or moving it in, right? So it's conscious effort, and that you're getting stronger in both ranges of motion. So I'm just going to let it relax, bring the band up overhead, and then bring it down. I'm going to go back into having the band just like so. So it's just back into this position. But just to add a little bit of a different, this is supination. So same thing as I'm pulling it out, but I'm going to pull it into the chest and then just bring it forward. So technically you could do all these exercises as a routine as I'm doing it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be this order. Right? I'm pulling it out, bringing it forward. Right? I'm just going to hold the static position out, and then I'm going to bring it down. So one last thing is I'm just going to take the arms or the band into a backward motion. So you can pull the band into a wide position once again, and then as you pull it out, Again, I could take it all the way up into this position. So again, those of you that can't take the arms all the way overhead, you could gradually increase the range. So each time I take it up and I pull it out, well, maybe it's a little bit further back from me. You gotta be careful with how much you bring it back initially, but over time, right, it could be the height of the shoulders, and it could certainly be lower. It's just something I wouldn't start out with, right? But I'm bringing it forward to an extent, and then bringing it back in space. So with this, I'm trying to keep the tension in the band the whole time, so I'm not bringing it in and out like we did in other variations. So you can think of this as the fifth variation that we've done so far. And if it's really hard on the shoulder, you can certainly bring it in a little bit, and then you could bring it back out. But just know what is your range of motion, because you don't obviously want to do too much. So I'm just bringing it forward and I'm bringing it down. So that's it. But if you're doing lots of push-ups or a lot of yoga, right, it's all pronation, and there's not a shoulder retraction. So the band is really, really good for if you're wanting to do more difficult things on your hands, like handstanding or different arm balances or pull-ups. Right? This band is something that I would get in the habit of using. It could be before your exercises. It could be more of like a cool down after. But you can let me know if this helped. If you have any questions, you can leave me a message in the comment section. If you liked it, you can give me a like. If you found it very useful, you could share it with your friends, your family. All right, take care of yourselves.